Okay, let's just jump right in. Think about almost any song you love. Doesn't matter if it's pop or rock or even a big movie score. There's a hidden framework holding it all together, and that framework is rhythm.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
It's the architecture of how we experience time in music. And today, we want to really break down how that works, Go past just tapping your foot and see how composers use time to create actual feeling.
Right, and if you get these rules, you really unlock how music works on a much deeper level. So we have to start with the foundation, the big one, common time.
The 44 meter. You see it everywhere. And all it means, really, is that there are 4 beats in every single little chunk of music, every measure.
And in that 44 world, the quarter note is kind of the main currency, right? It gets one full beat.
Exactly, it's the heartbeat. And that's the best way to practice it. Get a metronome, set it slow, maybe 60 beats per minute.
Why 60 specifically?
It's close to a slow resting heartbeat. It feels natural. The key isn't speed, it's consistency. You can count 1, 2, 3, 4 steadily and tap your foot. You're actually feeling the pulse in your body, not just, saying numbers.
Okay, so let's stick with that quarter note for a second. It's our building block, one beat. When you're practicing this, just clapping, 1, 2, 3, 4. The quality of that clap really matters.
It really does. Every single clap has to have the same volume, the same length. The second you start speeding up or slowing down, even a tiny bit, the whole thing falls apart. It needs to be like a perfect clock.
I find it really helps to move, like actually march in place while you're counting and clapping. Your body learns the tempo so your brain can focus on what's coming next.
That's a great tip. Okay, so once you've mastered that one beat pulse, we learn how to stretch time. And that brings us to the half note.
A half note. Simple enough, it lasts for 2 beats, twice as long as a quarter note. So you only need 2 of them to fill up a whole 44 measure.
But this is a huge mental shift for a musician. You're not just hitting every beat anymore. You play on beat 1, and then you have to hold that sound all the way through beat 2.
That silent second beat is the tricky part. You have to feel it internally, or you'll cut the note short and it'll sound all jagged.
Yes, it's all about feeling duration.
Yep.
Now that we've stretched time, let's do the opposite. Let's squish it. Let's talk about eighth notes.
Eighth notes. So these are fast, twice as fast as quarter notes. They only get half a beat each.
Which means you can fit 8 of them into one measure of 44. And our counting has to change too. To fit them in, we add the word and between the numbers.
Ah, the classic 1 and 2 and 3 and 4
And that's the one. It covers all 8 little pulses.
Uh-huh.
And if you look at the sheet music, you'll see them connected with a line of the cop, a beam.
Yeah, that beam isn't just for looks, is it? It's a visual clue.
It's a brilliant visual clue. It groups the notes by the beat so you can see the 1 and or the 2 and as a single unit. But the challenge is precision. If your 1 is even a little longer than your and, the rhythm sounds messy and unprofessional.
Okay, so we've talked about sound, but what about the opposite? Music is just as much about silence, which brings us to rests.
Rests are literally symbols for structured silence,
Hmm.
and they have the same values as notes. A quarter rest means 1 beat of total silence.
This feels like the #1 thing beginners get wrong. Practicing silence just feels weird.
It's completely counterintuitive. The mistake everyone makes is they stop counting in their head during the rest. And if you do that, you lose your place. You'll come back in early, and the whole rhythm is thrown off. Silence is not empty space. It's measured time. You have to respect it.
So silence gives it shape. What gives it character is speed. Let's talk tempo.
Tempo is simply how fast or slow the music is, and it's measured in BPM, or beats per minute. It sets the whole mood. 60 BPM can feel really serious and heavy, but crank it up to 120, and suddenly you want to dance?
And we still use all those old Italian terms, right? Largo for slow, allegro for fast.
We do. But the most important thing for anyone starting out is just start slow. Accuracy first. If your tempo is all over the place, you can't play with anyone else. It just doesn't work.
All right, so now let's get a little more complex. Let's talk about how composers play with time, starting with dotted notes.
A dot is a fantastic piece of musical shorthand. It's a simple math problem, really. It tells you to add half of the note's original value to its length.
Okay, let's break that down. A half note is normally 2 beats. Half of 2 is 1. So a dotted half note is 2 plus 1, 3 beats long.
Exactly. You hold the sound for 1, 2, 3. And this isn't just theory. It creates a very specific, long, short feeling, a kind of lift.
Mhm.
You hear it in waltzes and a lot of traditional marches. It gives the music a certain kind of swing.
So if dotted notes stretch time out in a specific way, triplets kind of bend it?
That's a perfect way to put it. A triplet is when you squeeze 3 notes into the space where you'd normally only fit 2. It gives music that rolling, tumbling forward feel. You hear it all the time in jazz and blues.
And how do you even count that? It seems like it would break your brain.
The trick is to use syllables. For every one beat, you say triplet. The hard part is making each of those three sounds exactly the same length. Your brain wants to make it uneven, but you have to fight that. Control is everything.
This feels like we're moving into the really expressive stuff. Let's talk about what makes music feel cool and modern. Let's talk syncopation.
Ah, syncopation. It's all about surprise. It's when you put the emphasis, the accent on a weak beat, the off beat.
Hmm.
So instead of stressing the one and the three, you might hit the and of two or beat four really hard.
And that's the engine behind so much modern music, right? Funk, pop, dance music. It creates this tension because it fights what we expect to hear. It makes you want to move.
Absolutely. Think about reggae. The emphasis is often on beats 2 and 4, leaving beat 1 almost empty. That space creates a pull. Your ear wants to fill it in.
A good way to practice this is to try clapping only on the ands. Whisper 1, 2, 3, 4, but clap loudly on and. It's surprisingly difficult.
It is, because you're retraining your internal clock to feel the rhythm in the gaps between the main pulses.
And while we're on the topic of accents and emphasis, we should talk about dynamics.
Dynamics are just about volume. How loud forte or soft piano you play a note. But they're not just for decoration. They can define a rhythm. If you play beat 1 loud and the other 3 soft, you're using volume to establish the 44 meter for everyone.
So it's structural, but it's also emotional, isn't it?
Completely. You can take a simple string of quarter notes and make them sound emotional by gradually getting louder, a crescendo, or softer. It adds a whole story to the rhythm without changing a single note.
Okay, so we have all these amazing rhythmic tools. How do we write them down so other people can play them? This brings us to rhythmic notation.
Notation is the language. The symbols on the page, the staff, the time signature, the notes, the rests. It's the blueprint. Without it, we couldn't accurately play complex music.
Those vertical bar lines that chop the music into measures are so important. They help you group the rhythm into small, manageable chunks so you don't get lost in a sea of notes.
And when you have a whole group of people reading that blueprint, someone needs to be the visual guide,
Yeah.
which is where basic conducting patterns come into play.
Right. The hand signals that keep everyone together. It's a visual metronome.
Exactly. And for 44 time, the pattern is universal. It goes down, left, right, up. The most important one is that first beat, down.
Beat 1 is always down. It's like the point of gravity for the whole measure.
It is. It's the strongest pulse. And if you practice that pattern yourself while listening to music, you start to see the shape of the time. You can visualize where you are so you never get lost.
So when you put all of this together, from the basic quarter note all the way to syncopation and dynamics, you really start to understand the internal engine of music.
You really do. You go from just hearing it to actually understanding it. So here's a challenge for you. Put on your favorite song, something with a good beat, and try to conduct along to it. Just try that down, left, right, up pattern. See if you can find beat 1. And then listen for where the rhythm gets tricky. Where is the syncopation?
It's a great way to actively listen, keep practicing, and keep listening closely. See you next time.